Why discounting is killing your auto repair business. Your tech just did four jobs today. It's a good day, but you gave a 10% discount to win 3 of them and you're still trying to figure out where the money went. Here's the thing about discounting. It feels like a smart move. Like price is lower, more customers say yes, and more jobs come in. More jobs means more money. And that logic makes complete sense. The problem is that the maths just does not add up. See, most shop owners who are discounting with their work have no idea what it's actually costing them. Not in a vague, I'm probably leaving money on the floor kind of a way, but in a very specific, measurable jobs per day way. And the worst part is that most of those owners are already flat out. It's not like they've got any spare capacity across their day to do the extra work required. So the extra work that discounting demands, it simply can't be done. This isn't a volume problem, it's a pricing problem. And in a minute, I'm going to show you exactly how many extra jobs discounting is costing you, down to the job. Now, before we get into that, if you want to take this further after today's episode, we've got a free resource called Why You Need to Raise Your Prices. It's a no-fluff guide to understanding what undercharging is actually costing you and what to do about it. The link is in the description box below. You can grab it at the end of today's episode. Now let's start with the maths. Three columns here. Okay, let's label them straight out so it's easy. First of all, let's label this column your discount column. All right. The next one, let's talk about that as being the extra work. We'll put that as a percentage. And to make it really easy for you to understand, not because I don't think you're smart, but let's just make the maths math. Let's say for 4 jobs, what that has to become in a day. Let's start here. Okay, let's say that you apply a 10% discount to win a job, or you put a blanket 10% discount across a day. Well, it turns out that you would have to do 29% more work just to stay exactly where you are, just to make the same amount of money that you would if you charged full freight odds for the work. And interestingly, that means that your 4 jobs now becomes 5. So one technician who might be doing 4 jobs in a day, but you applied a 10% discount across those jobs, well, that tech needs to find one more job in that day just to help you make the same money from the work that they do. What happens with a 20% discount? Well, with 20%, turns out that now we've got to do 80% more work. And those 4 jobs that you were doing, well, now they become 7. That's nearly 2 days worth of work squeezed into 1 just to make the same amount of money, just to stay exactly where you are. But what about this one? What if we do 30% discount? Well, this one stings a bit, because now we need to do 200% extra work to make the same amount of money just to stay exactly where we are. I'm pretty sure that's not what you're trying to do. And well, those 4 jobs, now they become 12 jobs. That's 3 days worth of work jammed into 1 day just to break even and stay where you are. Now, here's the thing I want you to notice, right? This is based off of a GP of 45%. But let me just show you this. Here in Workshop Whisperer land, 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% 45% if this is your GP, this is 0, this is 100, well, the benchmark here is between, let's put it here. Benchmark for us is between 58 to 62% GP. I just said this is based off of 45%, nearly 15% lower. Let's say it's here. It's where most auto repair businesses will be. We've already got a gap. There's already a gap here. But imagine now you're applying another 10% on that, or you're applying 20% discount, or worse, 30%. Guess what? This is all the money that you're leaving on your table, on the table there, missing out on your auto repair business. That's nearly 50%. It's an incredible loss to make. One of our clients came to us convinced that discounting was the only way to stay competitive. They were busy. They were always booked. The bays were full. Boys were busy, running hard every single day of the month, right? But at the end of each month, there was nothing left in the bank account. That's a story we hear all too often. But when we actually mapped out their discounting, the ad hoc discounts, the discounts applied because long-term loyal customers, the discounts where the service advisor was handing out discounts because they didn't know how to handle the pushback, they were averaging a 12 to 15% discount right across the board. Now, that's not a small number, right? We can see from here. That's not a small number. It's this here. And it's the difference between a profitable auto repair business and a very expensive job. We call it the cost of discounting. And let's be honest, now that you've seen it, there is no way that you're ever going to unsee it. But let's look at what it does, what discounting does to a business over time, right? Let's say here we've got shop A. Actually, let's call this one shop A. We'll call this one shop B. Now, shop A discounts to win work. What does that mean? It means the funnel is wide at the top, right? So they've got all these vehicles, all these jobs that they're pushing in every day. All coming in. All of that work to squeeze in. But what actually happens on the way through? First of all, let's consider this team's motivation and pressure. I don't care who you are, how good a technician you are, if you walk in every single day already believing that there is an unending number of jobs, vehicles that need to be completed that day, it is really hard to stay motivated. Why? Because energy is it is not an unlimited resource. It is a finite resource. So the individual will go into their own version of energy conservation. So their motivation level goes down. But the owner, the auto repair business owner, the pressure they will apply to the team to get all those jobs out, because they know that there's not going to be much left over at the end of it, the pressure's going to go up. And if you get that kind of competing force, you can understand why workshops that experience reduced motivation, increased pressure, there is an eruption, an escalation of some sort. Someone gets jacked off and leaves. Someone gets frustrated and screams. There is a real problem there. So we're discounting to win work based on how many extra jobs we need to do. Motivation drops, pressure goes up. Let's look on the other side, right? But we've also got an issue here around accuracy and quality. When you've got to get this much work done, you guys haven't been seeing it. That's now that I've got that working again. When you've got to get that much work done, what happens to your accuracy and your quality? Well, you start to cut corners. So accuracy goes down. And if accuracy goes down on the work, then the quality of the work drops. So callbacks go up. What else happens? Well, we're missing opportunities for upsells or cross sells. So the average repair order also goes down, but so does customer satisfaction. What does that mean at the bottom? Well, you're making less on the jobs that you're doing, and you're probably going to have less customers to do that across the time. That's better. You're going to have less customers across the time because they get frustrated with the quality of work that's being done, so they go somewhere else. That's one way to run a shop, right? But let's look at shop B. Shop B goes, we're not playing that game. We're going to have less jobs coming through. Yep. We're going to have them run through here. But what happens to this shop where we've got the team under less pressure? We know what each technician needs to produce in a day to give us the financial result we're looking for. Well, here's what happens. The focus of that team goes up. When our team is focused on the job at hand because they're not thinking about the massive backlog of work that needs to be done and the increasingly high level of vehicles that are getting parked in the parking lot or wherever you've got to park them in your yard, their quality goes up, their efficiency goes up, and their job satisfaction also goes up. So fewer jobs at the top. Team's more focused. They've got time to do the job right. So they present the work properly. What does that mean? Well, in this case, average repair order goes up. They're building better quality relationships with the customer because they're getting quality work, reliable repairs, and safe vehicles. So customer satisfaction goes up. What happens here is we actually get a good amount of money that comes out at the bottom of the shop, and more importantly, the team goes home happy and in one piece, ready to come back the next day to do it all again. That is the volume versus the value model. Shop A chases volume through discounting, but Shop B protects value through pricing. And here's what most shop owners don't realize. The customers who push the hardest for a discount, they are not usually your best customers. They're the most price sensitive, they are the hardest to deal with, and they're the most likely to complain. Do you really want more customers like that? No, you want more customers who appreciate your knowledge, your skill, your experience, your expertise, and they don't argue about the bill. So you've now seen what discounting actually costs in jobs, in team performance, and in money that never ever makes it to your account. If you want a clear starting point to how to begin to rectify this, then grab our free source, Why You Need to Raise Your Prices. It's in the description box below. It'll walk you through exactly what undercharging is costing you and where to start fixing it. But let's just slow down for a second and let this line land for you. Every discount you give is a job that you do not get paid for. Every discount you give is a job you do not get paid for. Think about your week, the week you've just had. How many jobs went through your shop? How many of them had a discount applied to them? Even a $30 a service, even a $30 discount on a service, even waiving a diagnostic fee because the customer gave a little bit of pushback, even shaving the labour rate because it's a customer that's been coming to you for years. It all adds up. And at 45% GP, if we say here, 45%, every one of those discounts is costing you more than the dollar amount itself. So there's 3 questions I want you to sit with here today. First, what is your current GP margin? And do you actually know it? Not approximately, not I think we're around. A profitable, successful 7-figure shop owner, they know this number like a pilot knows their altitude. It's not guesswork. They refuse to fly blind. Second, how often are you discounting and who's actually asking for it? This is a really big one because in most shops, customers aren't asking for discounts as often as they think. In our world, when we're working with auto repair shop owners or those that are starting to look around for some help, some guidance, and we talk about pricing correctly, margins, markups, labour rates, diagnostic rates, we will often be told, oh yeah, but we put our prices up and customers pushed back. And our very next question is, well, how many? The answer is almost always less than a handful. So we see auto repair businesses applying discounts across their entire customer base to appease a select few who are never their ideal customers. And in many cases, it's the service advisor offering those discounts to smooth things over, to avoid a difficult conversation, to keep the customer happy. But that's a training problem. It's not a market problem. And third, if you stopped discounting tomorrow and you lost 20% of your jobs, would you actually be worse off? Think about that for a second. If those jobs were the low margin, high discount, high callback jobs and customers, and 20% of them just walked out the door, you might actually make more money. As an extreme example, you could double your prices tomorrow, have 50% of your customer base walk out the door. You would be in exactly the same financial position as you are right now, and you would have just solved the problem of time. Do we ever recommend that? Of course we don't. But understand the reason you're so time poor and so stressed out under the pump is often because you're not capturing the money that you should because of the discounts that are being provided or the current GP level that your business is operating at. And this is exactly what we work on inside the engine room using the pricing matrix. It's not about charging more for the sake of it, because we never sell anything to a customer they don't want, don't need, and won't help. But it is about knowing your numbers well enough to price with confidence. Because busy is not the same as profitable, and more jobs for less money is not a growth strategy. It's a strategy for closing your doors quicker than the bloke down the road. Price right, do less, keep more of the money that you make. Now, if this episode has you thinking differently about your auto repair business and you'd like to find out how we help auto repair shop owners make more money by doing fewer jobs, then click the links in the description below. There's no sales calls, there's no pressure, just a bunch of useful information to help you work out if now is the right time and we might be the right fit to give you some help with your auto repair business. I'll see you in the next episode of the A-Grade Auto Repair Shop Show.